If you clicked on this video, you're probably still operating from the most limiting belief consciousness can hold about itself. Not that you're unworthy or incapable or broken, those are just symptoms. The core belief is, you are solid matter moving through space and time. You are physical body made of flesh, bones, blood. You are biological organisms subject to gravity, entropy, disease, aging, death. And this belief, this absolute conviction that you're matter rather than energy, is exactly what keeps reality operating according to old rules that limit you, age you, constrain you, eventually destroy the form you're identified with. There's a moment of recognition, validated by quantum physics, proven by every mystical tradition, verifiable through direct experience, where consciousness suddenly sees clearly, I'm not matter. I'm energy temporarily forming pattern that appears as matter. Not metaphorically, not poetically, actually physically, scientifically. You are electromagnetic energy organized into pattern through consciousness, vibrating at frequency that makes pattern appear solid while being fundamentally non-solid. And the moment that recognition fully penetrates consciousness, the moment you genuinely know your energy rather than matter, reality stops playing by old rules, because old rules applied to matter. But energy operates by completely different principles. Most people never make this shift. They live entire lives identified as physical body, believing they're solid matter, accepting limitations that apply to solid matter, experiencing aging and disease and death as inevitable because that's what happens to matter. The identification is so complete, so unquestioned, so reinforced by consensus reality, that recognizing you're not matter feels absurd, impossible, dangerous to even consider. You are body. That's obvious. That's what you see in mirror. That's what everyone agrees you are. Except it's not true. And quantum physics proves it's not true. Can you feel the resistance rising as you read that? The mind saying, but I am physical body, that's not belief, that's fact. That resistance is exactly what maintains the limitation, because as long as consciousness is convinced it's matter, reality responds to consciousness as matter, subject to matter's rules, limited by matter's constraints, vulnerable to matter's inevitable deterioration. But when consciousness recognizes its energy, reality responds to energy's nature, capable of instant reorganization, responsive to frequency shifts, unlimited by matter's restrictions because energy isn't ultimately bound by form that appears solid. Quantum mechanics demonstrates that matter isn't solid. At quantum level, atoms are 99.9% empty space, with energy patterns vibrating at frequencies that create appearance of solidity. Your body isn't solid. Your body is energy field, vibrating at specific frequency, creating stable pattern that appears solid to senses, calibrated to perceive within narrow frequency range. But you're not perceiving reality as it is. You're perceiving reality as your limited sensory apparatus translates it. And that translation creates illusion. The illusion that you're solid matter, rather than recognizing your energy temporarily stabilized into pattern. Einstein's EMC2 proves matter and energy are equivalent. Matter is just energy in different form. Which means you're not matter that sometimes has energy. You are energy that sometimes forms matter. Energy is primary. Matter is secondary. Manifestation of energy organized into temporary stable patterns. And consciousness that recognizes this, consciousness that knows itself as energy rather than as matter, that consciousness begins operating by energy's rules rather than remaining limited by matter's constraints. The ancient mystics knew this. They didn't call it energy, they called it prana, chi, life force, spirit, consciousness itself. But they recognized the same truth quantum physics now validates. You are not solid physical form. You are energetic being temporarily manifesting as physical form. And that recognition is what allowed yogis to perform feats that violate matter's supposed rules: levitation, materialization, stopping heart, living without food. Not through supernatural powers, through understanding actual nature of reality and of self. Through recognizing energy is what you are, and energy operates by different principles than matter appears to follow. Take a breath, deep one, and feel into possibility. What if you're not body? What if body is just energy pattern you're temporarily forming and identifying with? What if limitations you experience aren't inherent to what you are, but are just consequences of believing you're matter when you're actually energy? What becomes possible when consciousness shifts from "I am matter" to "I am energy appearing as matter"? That shift is what changes everything. That shift is when reality stops playing by old rules. Before you can recognize your energy rather than matter, you need to understand how consciousness became convinced its physical body and how that conviction creates the limitations you experience as inevitable. Because identification with matter isn't conscious choice. It's conditioned belief reinforced through every experience since birth, creating illusion so convincing that questioning it seems insane, even when evidence suggests illusion is precisely what needs questioning. The identification begins early. Infant consciousness experiences sensations through body, learns body is tool for navigating physical reality, develops sense that "I am this body." Because body is interface through which consciousness experiences world. Every touch, every movement, every sensation reinforces message. You are physical form. Parents, culture, education all confirm belief. You are body made of matter, subject to matter's rules, limited by matter's constraints. By adulthood, identification is so complete that consciousness can't imagine being anything except physical organism. But identification creates limitation. When consciousness believes it's matter, reality responds to that belief by enforcing matter's rules. Matter is subject to gravity. You can't fly. Matter is subject to entropy. You age, deteriorate, eventually die. Matter is subject to physical laws. You can't pass through walls, can't reorganize molecular structure, can't access energy directly without consuming material substances. All of these limitations feel absolutely real, completely inevitable, impossible to transcend, because consciousness believes it is matter, and matter operates by these rules. Yet quantum physics demonstrates something profound. Observation affects observed. At quantum level, particles behave differently depending on whether they're observed. The observer isn't neutral recorder of independent reality. Observer participates in determining what manifests. Applied to consciousness believing it's matter, that belief is observation. And that observation affects what manifests. You observe yourself as matter, reality responds by manifesting according to matter's rules. Not because those rules are absolute, because your observation of self as matter creates quantum agreement that enforces those rules. This is why placebo effect works. Consciousness believes substance will heal, body heals even when substance is inert. Consciousness believes surgery occurred, improvement happens even when surgery was fake. Not through positive thinking or faith healing, through consciousness's observation affecting physical manifestation at quantum level. When consciousness genuinely believes healing is occurring, body reorganizes energy patterns to align with that belief. Not because belief creates fantasy, because consciousness is energy, body is energy pattern formed by consciousness, and energy responds to consciousness's understanding of what's possible. But placebo reveals only a tiny fraction of what becomes possible when consciousness recognizes its energy rather than matter. Because placebo still operates within matter paradigm, Consciousness believes matter can heal under certain conditions, so matter heals under those conditions. That's using belief to work within matter's rules more effectively. Recognition that you are energy rather than matter transcends those rules entirely. You're not trying to heal matter through belief. You're recognizing matter is energy pattern, and energy patterns can reorganize instantly through consciousness's direct influence. The ancient traditions understood this through direct experience. Mystics who recognized their energy rather than matter demonstrated capacities that violate materialist paradigm. Body remaining preserved after death, living extreme ages, manifesting objects, being in two locations simultaneously, transforming physical appearance. Modern science dismisses these as legends or tricks. But quantum physics now explains mechanism. If consciousness recognizes its energy organizing into matter rather than being matter, and if energy responds to consciousness's frequency and focus, then reorganizing energy pattern becomes possible in ways that seem impossible when you believe you're matter-bound by matter's fixed rules. Understanding this framework doesn't immediately shift identification. Intellectual comprehension isn't recognition. Mind can understand I'm energy as concept, while consciousness remains identified as matter experientially. The shift from understanding to recognition requires more than thinking about being energy. Requires direct experience of energy that consciousness is. Moment where identification with solid body dissolves and recognition of energetic nature becomes undeniable, visceral, impossible to dismiss as mere idea. There are specific experiences that reveal your energy rather than matter, experiences that consciousness either dismisses as anomalies or recognizes as evidence of actual nature. These aren't rare mystical events requiring decades of practice. These are common experiences you've probably had repeatedly, but interpreted through matter paradigm, rather than recognizing them as glimpses of energetic nature that's always true, but usually obscured by identification with physical form. The first experience is feeling your body as energy rather than matter. During illness, deep relaxation, or heightened states, suddenly body doesn't feel like solid object. Body feels like vibrating energy, like frequency pattern, like electromagnetic field rather than flesh and bone. You might feel body boundaries dissolving, or sense yourself as larger than physical form, or perceive body as luminous energy rather than solid matter. Most people dismiss this as altered perception, as brain malfunction, as meaningless sensation. But what if it's accurate perception? Consciousness briefly perceiving actual nature of body as energy pattern rather than perceiving through habitual filter that makes energy appear solid? The second experience is body responding instantly to consciousness shifts. You think about someone, body immediately generates physical sensation. You shift emotional state, body instantly changes, tension releases, energy increases, pain reduces. You focus intention on specific body part, sensation intensifies there immediately. These instant responses reveal body isn't independent solid matter operating through mechanical biological processes. Body is energy field directly responsive to consciousness, reorganizing instantly based on focus and frequency. The instantaneous response is impossible if body is matter subject to physical causation. But it's natural if body is energy pattern formed by consciousness and responsive to consciousness's shifts. The third experience is sensing energy before physical manifestation. You feel someone approaching before seeing them. You sense phone will ring before it rings. You know something will happen before physical evidence appears. Consciousness is perceiving energy patterns that exist before manifesting as physical events. This precognition is impossible in materialist paradigm where only physical manifestation is real. But it's natural when consciousness recognizes its energy that perceives energetic level of reality where events exist as probability patterns before crystallizing into physical manifestation that senses detect. The fourth experience is affecting physical matter through focus without physical contact. You focus attention on plant, and it grows more vigorously. You hold intention toward water, and its molecular structure changes measurably. You direct awareness toward random number generator and output shifts from randomness. Consciousness is affecting physical matter through non-physical means, not through some mysterious psychic power, but through energy. That consciousness is directly influencing energy patterns that matter is, causing reorganization without requiring physical causation. The fifth experience is body healing or changing in ways that violate matter's supposed rules. Spontaneous remission of terminal disease, instant healing of injury, physical appearance changing based on identity shifts, aging reversing when consciousness shifts. These aren't miracles or medical anomalies. These are energy patterns reorganizing when consciousness recognizes its energy rather than remaining identified as fixed matter. The reorganization is natural to energy, impossible to matter, which reveals what you actually are. The sixth experience is feeling energy moving through body in ways anatomy doesn't account for. Sensation flowing up spine that isn't nerve signal. Energy circulating through patterns that aren't blood vessels. Force moving through body that isn't muscular contraction. You're perceiving actual energy circulation that exists beneath physical manifestation. The chai that Chinese medicine maps, the prana that yogic traditions describe, the life force that animates form but isn't reducible to biological processes. The seventh experience is existing as pure energy without body identification during meditation, near-death experience, or spontaneous shift. Consciousness suddenly recognizes it's not in body. Body is appearance in consciousness. Your energy, awareness, presence that has no form, no location, no physical attributes. And in that recognition, all limitation that comes from body identification dissolves. You're not constrained by form because you're not form. Your energy temporarily forming pattern that appears as body while being fundamentally non-physical. Write in comments which experiences you recognize. Just list them. Body as energy, or instant body response, or sensing energy. That acknowledgement validates what consciousness has experienced, but may be dismissed. Makes conscious what was unconscious. Begins shifting identification from I am matter toward recognition, I am energy. Now we arrive at the moment of recognition itself. Not as future achievement, but as present possibility, available in this exact moment as you read these words. Because recognition that your energy isn't complicated realization requiring special practices or altered states. Recognition is seeing what's always been true, but overlooked through habitual identification with physical form. Like recognizing water is H2O molecules rather than solid substance. Doesn't change water, changes understanding of what water is. The recognition begins with simple question, what is body made of? Not at level of organs and tissues, at level of atoms. What are atoms made of? Not at level of protons and neutrons, at level of quantum particles. What are quantum particles? Not solid matter. Quantum particles are energy fluctuations in quantum field, appearing, disappearing, existing in superposition, behaving more like waves than particles, which means at fundamental level, body isn't matter. Body is organized energy patterns creating stable formation that appears solid but is fundamentally non-solid at quantum level. This isn't theoretical, this is physics. Matter is energy. Einstein proved it. Quantum mechanics demonstrates it. Every atom in body is energy vibrating at specific frequency. The appearance of solidity is frequency signature. Energy vibrating within range, where human senses perceive it as physical form. But change frequency and form changes. Elevate frequency sufficiently, and matter becomes light. Lower frequency and light becomes matter. They're not different substances. They're different frequencies of same thing, energy. So if body is energy, and you experience yourself as body, what does that make you? not matter experiencing energy. Energy experiencing itself through pattern that appears as matter. You are energy, not poetically, not metaphorically, actually physically, quantum mechanically. You are electromagnetic energy organized into temporary stable pattern through consciousness that identifies with pattern and believes pattern is solid substance rather than recognizing pattern is energy formation. Can you feel that recognition touching consciousness? Not as intellectual understanding, but as direct recognition. I'm not solid matter. I'm energy vibrating at frequency that creates appearance of solidity. That recognition, when it's genuine rather than just concept, shifts something fundamental. Reality begins responding differently because observer has fundamentally changed. You're no longer matter observing reality. Your energy recognizing itself as energy interfacing with energy field that appears as physical reality. The shift becomes undeniable when you feel into body directly, not thinking about body. Feeling body as sensation, as vibration, as energy. Close your eyes. Bring attention to body. Don't visualize body as solid form. Feel actual sensation of body. What do you feel? Vibration, tingling, pulsing, movement, energy. You don't feel solid matter. You feel energetic activity. The solidity is concept mind projects onto energy that consciousness is directly experiencing. Remove concept and what remains is energy. Vibrating, moving, pulsing, alive with energetic activity that has no solidity when directly perceived. That direct perception is recognition beginning. Consciousness touching actual nature rather than believing conceptual overlay that says this vibrating energy is solid matter called body. No. This is energy. This is what you are. Energy experiencing itself through pattern that mind calls body, but direct perception reveals as energetic activity without inherent solidity. The recognition deepens when consciousness remains with direct perception long enough that identification with solid form dissolves into recognition of energetic nature. 8 years ago, I had recognition that shattered materialist paradigm I'd unconsciously operated within entire life. I was practicing energy work, feeling chi moving through body, when suddenly consciousness recognized, this energy I'm feeling isn't flowing through solid body. This energy is body. Body is organized energy pattern, not matter that contains energy. And in that recognition, every limitation I'd accepted as inevitable revealed itself as consequence of believing I'm matter when I'm actually energy. The immediate effect was body sensations intensifying dramatically. Suddenly, I could feel energy circulating through channels Chinese medicine describes, but anatomy doesn't acknowledge. Could sense electromagnetic field extending beyond physical boundaries. Could perceive body as luminous energy rather than solid flesh. Not through visualization or imagination, through direct perception that was always available but consciousness wasn't attending to because it was so identified with being matter that energetic nature was completely overlooked. But more profound shift occurred in following weeks. Limitations that seemed absolute began dissolving. Chronic pain that had persisted for years disappeared as consciousness recognized pain was energy pattern, and energy patterns reorganized through consciousness's influence. Physical endurance increased dramatically as body accessed energy directly rather than being limited by matter's metabolic constraints. Healing accelerated as consciousness recognized body is energy formation that can reorganize instantly rather than matter that requires time for biological repair. What shocked me most was how much energy I'd been blocking by believing I'm matter. When consciousness is identified as solid body, it unconsciously limits energy flow to match what seems possible for matter. Can't have too much energy or body would burn out. Can't access infinite energy or biology would overwhelm. But when consciousness recognizes it is energy, those artificial limits dissolve. Infinite energy is available because you're not matter limited to stored fuel. You're energy that can access source directly. The exhaustion, depletion, low vitality that seemed normal were just consequences of consciousness limiting itself through identification with matter's apparent constraints. Most significantly, reality started responding differently. Synchronicities increased because energy recognizes energy. Consciousness operating as energy perceives energetic patterns in field before they manifest physically, allowing alignment with favorable patterns. Manifestations accelerated because energy reorganizes instantly while matter requires time. Intention held in consciousness as energy affects energy field directly rather than needing to work through material causation. Limitations dissolved because limitations are matter's rules, and consciousness established as energy isn't bound by rules that apply only to solid substance. This is what I wish someone had explained decades earlier. You're not trying to generate more energy or access special energy. You are energy. The vitality you're seeking is what you are. The power you want to develop is your nature. The limitations you're trying to overcome are just consequences of believing you're matter when you're actually energy. Recognition alone shifts everything because consciousness stops limiting itself through false identification and begins operating as what it actually is. Your recognition might come differently than mine came. Might be gentler or more dramatic. Might happen during practice or during ordinary moment. But mechanics are same. Consciousness recognizes its energy rather than matter. Observer fundamentally shifts, and reality responds to energy rather than continuing to reflect matter identification back to consciousness that's no longer identified as matter. The shift isn't that you become energy. The shift is recognizing you've always been energy but were unconscious of energetic nature through complete identification with physical form. To stabilize recognition that you're energy rather than remaining unconsciously identified as matter, you need to develop specific capacities that reinforce energetic awareness. Because recognition can flash briefly then disappear back into matter identification if consciousness doesn't consciously cultivate energy perception. These capacities aren't psychic abilities. These are natural ways consciousness perceives energetic level of reality that exists beneath physical manifestation, but goes unnoticed when consciousness is only attending to physical forms. The first capacity is feeling energy in body. Most people feel body as sensations that mind immediately interprets. That's muscle tension, or that's digestion, or that's tiredness. But beneath interpretations, body is pure energetic sensation. Vibrating, tingling, pulsing, flowing, concentrating, dispersing. Practice feeling body as pure energy without interpreting sensations. Just pure awareness of energetic activity happening continuously. That practice trains consciousness to perceive energetic nature rather than only perceiving through matter paradigm filter. The second capacity is sensing your energetic field beyond physical boundaries. Body appears to end at skin, but energetically, you extend beyond physical form. Practice sensing presence beyond body. Awareness that you're larger than physical boundaries suggest that consciousness includes space around body. That energy field extends outward in all directions, not visualizing aura or imagining energy, actually sensing presence that exists beyond where physical form appears to stop. That sensing reveals you're not contained within matter, your energy that forms pattern appearing as body while existing as field beyond apparent boundaries. The third capacity is perceiving energy in others and environment. Most people see physical forms and unconsciously assume that's all there is. But everything physical has energetic component that's perceptible to consciousness attending to energy level. Practice sensing energy when encountering people, not their physical appearance but their energetic presence, frequency, quality. Sense energy in spaces, in objects, in natural phenomena. That practice develops perception of energetic reality that exists beneath physical appearance. The fourth capacity is directing energy through intention. Energy responds to consciousness's focus. Practice moving energy through body using only attention, focusing on hand and sensing energy concentrating there, moving attention up arm and feeling energy flowing along path of focus. This isn't visualization. This is discovering that energy actually responds to consciousness's direction, proving you're not separate from energy. You are energy, conscious of itself, capable of reorganizing through intention, because energy and consciousness aren't separate. The fifth capacity is regulating energy frequency. Everything is vibrating at specific frequency. Practice sensing your current frequency, not as concept, but as actual felt sense of vibration level. Then practice shifting frequency through focus, through breath, through emotional state, through intention. Elevate frequency and notice energy becomes lighter, more expansive, more refined. Lower frequency and notice energy becomes denser, more contracted, more material. That practice reveals frequency is what determines whether energy appears as subtle or gross, as spiritual or physical, with consciousness capable of consciously shifting between frequencies. The sixth capacity is accessing source energy directly. Most people rely entirely on food, sleep, external circumstances for energy. But when consciousness recognizes its energy, direct access becomes possible. Practice sensing presence of energy everywhere, in air, in space, in field itself. Practice opening to that energy and allowing it to flow into your awareness without needing material medium. This isn't replacing food with energy. This is discovering you're not limited to material fuel, because you're fundamentally energy that can access source directly when consciousness knows how. Right now, practice feeling body as pure energy. Close eyes. Bring attention into body. Don't think about body. Feel actual energetic sensation, vibrating, tingling, pulsing, flowing. Feel that for 30 seconds. Just pure awareness of energy that body is. That simple practice begins shifting identification from I am matter to I am energy having material appearance. The more consciousness practices perceiving energetically, the more natural energetic awareness becomes until it's baseline, rather than requiring practice to access. Something crucial happens after consciousness stabilizes in recognizing its energy. Old rules stop applying, but new way of operating isn't immediately obvious. There's transition period where matter paradigm limitations dissolve, but energy paradigm capacities haven't fully developed. This creates disorientation, confusion, even fear, as consciousness realizes normal rules no longer constrain, but doesn't yet know how to navigate reality as energy rather than as matter. Many people retreat to matter identification during this transition because uncertainty feels more dangerous than familiar limitation. The disorientation manifests as unpredictability. Body that operated according to reliable patterns suddenly behaves unexpectedly. Energy surging or depleting without apparent cause. Physical sensations appearing that don't match medical understanding, stamina varying wildly rather than following consistent patterns. This isn't pathology. This is energy operating by energy's principles rather than being constrained to matter's consistent patterns. Energy responds to consciousness's frequency, to emotional states, to energetic environment. Variables matter paradigm doesn't acknowledge become significant when consciousness recognizes its energy. Or manifestations occur, but not how ego expected. You recognize your energy, you hold intention for something to manifest, and something manifests, but different from what mind specified. This happens because energy responds to consciousness's actual frequency and authentic need, rather than ego's mental preferences. When identified as matter, consciousness could only access reality through material causation, wanting something, taking physical action to get it. But as energy, consciousness affects reality directly through frequency alignment. What manifests matches your frequency rather than your mental desire, which sometimes means manifestation ego wanted doesn't occur while manifestation consciousness actually needed appears. Or physical limitations dissolve, but psychological patterns remain. You recognize your energy, body becomes more capable, vitality increases, but mind still operates from old conditioned patterns of limitation. This creates internal conflict. Body knows its energy and capable of more. Mind still believes you're matter and limited. The conflict manifests as self-sabotage, as sudden return of symptoms when consciousness approaches breakthrough, as fear arising whenever expansion gets too far beyond familiar comfort zone. The recognition must penetrate psychological level, not just physical perception, or mind will recreate limitations consciousness transcended physically. The practice during transition is surrendering need to control outcomes while maintaining clear intention. Energy operates through resonance, attraction, alignment, not through forcing or controlling or manipulating. But ego wants to control, wants to know exactly how things will manifest, wants guarantee that recognizing your energy will create specific results. That need for control is matter paradigm thinking, trying to make physical reality conform to mental preferences through mechanical causation. Energy paradigm operates differently, holding clear frequency, allowing what matches that frequency to manifest naturally, trusting that energy aligns with energy without needing ego's control. The transition also requires redefining success and failure. In matter paradigm, success means getting what ego wanted through physical effort. In energy paradigm, success means consciousness maintaining high frequency and allowing that frequency to attract matching experiences. What appears as failure to ego, not getting specific outcome, might be success to consciousness, maintaining frequency alignment despite ego's disappointment. The evaluation criteria shift from "did I get what I wanted" to "did I remain established as energy" rather than collapsing back into matter identification. I experienced this transition for 2 years after initial recognition. Body capable of things that seemed impossible while identified as matter. But mind kept trying to control how energy would manifest, kept expecting specific outcomes, kept judging experiences as success or failure based on whether they matched ego's preferences. Eventually I learned, let go of controlling how energy manifests. Hold frequency, allow alignment. Trust that energy operating as energy creates more favorable outcomes than matter-identified consciousness trying to force specific results. The surrender wasn't giving up. The surrender was stopping interference and allowing energy to operate according to energy's principles rather than trying to make energy follow matter's rules. What's happening individually as you recognize your energy is happening collectively to thousands globally. This isn't isolated realization affecting random individuals. This is species-wide shift from matter-based consciousness to energy-based awareness, where enough humans simultaneously recognize their energy rather than matter. That collective field itself is transforming from being dominated by materialist paradigm to being informed by energetic understanding of reality's actual nature. Rupert Sheldrake's morphic resonance explains why recognition is occurring for many simultaneously. As more consciousnesses recognize their energy, morphic field strengthens, making recognition easier for others approaching similar realization. First person who clearly recognized "I'm energy, not matter" had to transcend complete cultural conditioning, saying matter is fundamental reality. Second person found recognition slightly easier. And now, after accumulating recognition across thousands of consciousnesses, field contains clear patterns supporting shift from matter identification to energy recognition for anyone whose development reaches appropriate threshold. You're benefiting from everyone who recognized before you, from mystics who maintained energetic awareness, from quantum physicists who proved matter is energy, from energy healers who demonstrated energy affects physical form, from meditation teachers who pointed toward recognizing energetic nature. They created morphic field. They proved recognition is real. They demonstrated consciousness can operate as energy rather than remaining trapped in matter identification. Their achievement makes your recognition easier, more supported, more likely to stabilize rather than flash briefly and disappear. And when your recognition stabilizes, when you establish as energy rather than matter, when you allow reality to respond to energetic nature rather than maintaining matter identification, you strengthen morphic field for everyone approaching this recognition. Your shift serves collective, makes it easier for next consciousness to recognize energetic nature, contributes to species evolution from matter-based to energy-based understanding of what humans actually are. But there's something else occurring at collective level that makes this moment unique. Technology is revealing energetic level of reality that was invisible to previous generations. Devices can now measure electromagnetic fields, detect frequencies, image energy patterns. What mystics could only perceive subjectively, science can now measure objectively. This objective validation makes recognition easier. You're not just trusting subjective experience that culture dismisses as imagination. You're recognizing what science confirms as measurable reality. Matter is energy. Physics proves it. Technology measures it. Your recognition aligns with validated truth rather than contradicting consensus reality. This convergence of spiritual recognition and scientific validation is creating conditions for collective shift. When mystics alone recognized energy, culture could dismiss them as deluded. But when quantum physics proves matter is energy, when technology measures energetic phenomena, when growing numbers of people recognize energetic nature through direct experience, collective paradigm must shift to accommodate truth that can no longer be dismissed or explained away. The shift from matter paradigm to energy paradigm isn't just individual awakening. It's collective evolution of species, understanding what it actually is at fundamental level. Share this transmission. Others are experiencing glimpses of energetic nature, but returning to matter identification because they're alone in recognition. Others are sensing their energy, but doubting perception because culture insists they're matter. Others need to know, quantum physics proves your energy, direct experience confirms your energy, collective field is shifting toward energy recognition. You're not crazy. You're recognizing truth that's been suppressed by materialist paradigm that's collapsing under weight of evidence it can no longer contain. There's a choice approaching that determines whether recognition becomes stable or remains interesting idea you eventually forget. Choice between continuing to identify as matter because it's familiar even while knowing your energy, or fully releasing matter identification and living as energy, even though that means every limit ego built on false self must dissolve. Choice between spiritual concept you understand intellectually and lived reality you embody continuously. This choice can't be made from ego. Ego wants to remain identified as matter because ego's entire structure is built on being separate solid self. Ego can understand I'm energy as concept. Ego can think about being energy philosophically, but ego can't actually be energy because ego is matter identification, the sense of being separate solid individual with definite boundaries. Asking ego to release matter identification is asking it to dissolve itself. Ego will always resist that dissolution through creating doubt, fear, rationalization, distraction.